Every minute, a woman is assaulted in India. Every hour, more than 3 women are murdered.
22 का ये घटना है। बच्ची अपने घर में सो रही है और पेट्रोल डाल के जिंदा जला दिया इन दोनों मनचलों ने।
In the wake of a brutal assault on a young medical student in Delhi 12 years ago, stricter laws on gender violence were enacted, prompting hopes of change.
It was a turning point in terms of the legal intervention and a mass protest, say, in the streets of Delhi. But even at that point of time, it was short-lived.
But after a recent assault of a Spanish couple in a remote part of India, the country is once again confronted with its poor record on women's safety.
I feel that as a society we are pretty conditioned and we do not take our women to be women. It's a wholly patriarchal society, that I would say.
Why does India struggle to solve the problem of gender violence? Brazilian Spanish travel vloggers Fernanda and Vicente had travelled for 6 years on their motorbikes. In March, they found themselves in Dumka, a backward district in the eastern Indian state of Jharkhand. While camped in this remote region, they were allegedly attacked by 7 men in the night. Fernanda was sexually assaulted by the gang.
We have been traveling for 6 years. Only in India, 6 months. We have been camping here. We didn't have any problem anywhere here. That was the first time. And we chose that place because we saw calm, we saw beautiful place, and we think we'll be okay and we'll be there alone.
The assault on the couple shook the nation. The local administration acted swiftly.
It's a very sad and unfortunate incident. I'm deeply concerned with that. We have taken very prompt action in this case. As soon as that incident was reported, immediately the case was registered, and within a few hours the accused were also arrested, 3 persons, and after 3 days the remaining accused also arrested.
8 suspected culprits were arrested. But the high-profile nature of the Dumka assault recalls another case 12 years ago. In December 2012, a young medical student was brutalized by a group of men inside a moving bus in the nation's capital, New Delhi. She and her male companion, both badly beaten, were dumped by the road. The student, given the moniker Nirbhaya, or Fearless, was first treated in India, then flown to a hospital in Singapore for further medical attention, where she succumbed to her injuries. In the aftermath, thousands took to the streets in angry protests, demanding retribution. 6 men were eventually arrested for the heinous crime. 4 were sentenced to death. This case, with the mass public outcry, was supposed to be an inflection point. A catalyst for change in a country with a poor reputation of violence towards women.
It was a turning point in terms of the legal intervention and a mass protest, say, in the streets of Delhi, particularly middle-class protests. But even at that point of time, it was short-lived.
That was a turning point. Not only India, I think world over, it was a turning point, and especially in India, because it came in light and it was so brutal, and people, especially women, were standing against it. So many laws got changed after that, and they made stricter laws, especially in the case of rape. Special courts were made for the rape incidents. Earlier, the minors were not inducted because one of the culprit was minor. So the age in the cases of rape was changed. So now they will be inducted, they will be charged as a grown-up person, even a 17-year-old.
Yet change did not quite come. In 2012, the year of the Nirbhaya case, almost 25,000 cases of rape were reported. That number has remained over 30,000 in the years since. And though the high-profile nature of the assault on the Spanish vloggers brought the issue into the international spotlight once again, other cases had received less attention. In Dumka, not far from where the Spanish couple was attacked, is the Jarwade Mohalla, or neighborhood. Here, a sprightly young woman, Ankita Singh, had big dreams for her future.
उसका सपना था कि पापा हम पढ़ के कुछ अच्छा बनेंगे, पुलिस अफसर बनेंगे।
What Sanjeev did not know at the time was that his daughter had been harassed by young men in the neighborhood on various pretenses. A couple of them stalked her. One of them threatened Ankita when she paid him no attention.
वो लड़का बहुत दिन से परेशान कर रहा था, फ़ोन से परेशान कर रहा था, तो हमको तो नहीं बताई, अपना बड़ी बहन को बताई कि हमको परेशान करता है। उसके बाद हम अपना दुकान से आए काम करके, तो जब हम काम करते हैं दुकान में, मतलब कि प्राइवेट जॉब है दुकान में, मरवाड़ी दुकान में अनमोल बिस्कुट का, तो वहाँ से आए तो 9:30 बजे रात में आए हम, बताइए, हम ठीक है, हम उससे सुबह उससे बात करते हैं।
Ankita slept in a room facing a lane with a window opening out to it. Around 4 a.m. on the 22nd of August, 2022, Ankita ran out of her room, screaming.
बगल रूम में सोए हुए थे हम, पिताजी, हम और मेरा बेटा मयंक और पिताजी और माँ सोए हुए थे। वो आई जलते हुए पूरा कि पापा देखिए ना, मतलब कि वो लड़का ने जला दिया, आग लगा दिया। 2 लड़का था, तो दौड़ते हुए आए, खिड़की खोले, देखे पूरा धुआं हो गया। देखे उसको भागते हुए हम दोनों सब देखे, हम पापा मेरा बेटा। हाँ, तो मेरी माँ तो खैर बूढ़ी है, तो उठने में लेट हो गया उसको, तो मतलब उठने में उठ गई थी माँ, मतलब कि देख नहीं पाई वो, तो हम लोग तीनों देखे भाग रहा है, वो भाग गया जला करके।
The family took Ankita on a 3-wheeler to a nearby hospital.
वहाँ भी वही व्यवस्था है, वार्ड वार्ड है, लेकिन वहाँ पंखा ऐसी कुछ व्यवस्था नहीं है, तो वहाँ भी चला था, डॉक्टर यहाँ से रेफर कर दिया। उस समय मेरे पास प्रिया सिंह लोग सब यहाँ पर हंगामा किया, आंदोलन करने के अति में, तो दिन भर यहाँ बीत गया मेरा। 8:30-9 बजे फिर यहाँ से एम्बुलेंस करके फिर रांची रिम्स ले गए। यहाँ सरकार अगर मदद करती है हमको, या एयर एम्बुलेंस करके हमको बोकारो अच्छा ट्रीटमेंट होता है, बोकारो जाते या कहीं भी अच्छा जगह जाते तो हम मेरी बेटी बच जाती।
In her dying statement in the hospital, Ankita said the attackers had earlier threatened her with dire consequences if she tried to get them locked up.
देखते हैं कौन जेल में ढुकाता है, और जेल से निकलेगा तो सबको सिखाएंगे, जो जेल में ढुकाया है वो लोग लड़की को खत्म कर दो मार के।
Ankita was 17 when the attack happened.
छोटी सी नाबालिग बच्ची थी, उसका कोई कसूर नहीं था, बस यही था कि जो अभियुक्त है मोहम्मद शाहरुख हुसैन और छोटू नईम, ये लोग दोनों का मनशा यही था कि किसी भी तरह इस बच्ची को हम गलत तरीके से यूज करें। लेकिन ये बच्ची जब उसको ना बोली, तो ना बोलने के खुन्नस में घर में सोई हुई बच्ची को पेट्रोल डाल के जिंदा जला दिया।
Ankita is not alone in this vast country where attacks on women take place almost every minute. A staggering 445,000 cases of crimes against women were recorded in 2022. In 2021, the figure was 428,000. A year before that, it was 370,000. However, the National Commission for Women views the rising figures as a sign that more women are now willing to come forward.
The number of cases you are seeing risen because the reporting is robust. Women are aware of their rights. They are coming forward and reporting the crimes. And that's why it is shown in media. And let me tell you one more reason. The media is also very active these days. Anything and everything, whichever happens in the society, they are very aware of this thing. They are reporting all the crimes, which was not there earlier.
However, others disagree that gender violence in India remains pervasive.
Did you see any change on the road? I see only Hathras girls being hanged. I see girls being killed, raped in Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and you know, the one rape happening in every 49 seconds. The data has not gone down yet. So I do not say that I have seen any change in 12 years, the course of 12 years.
In Ankita's case, police acted quickly. The case was tried in a fast-track court.
जो विक्टिम थी वो अपने से बताई थी कि ये फलना आदमी मेरे ऊपर पेट्रोल डाल के आग लगा के भागा है। उनके ही स्टेटमेंट पे एफआईआर रजिस्टर्ड हुआ था और उसके बाद ही सारे प्रक्रिया कार्रवाई करते हुए दोनों अभियुक्त को हम लोग ने जेल भेजा।
In March this year, the two culprits were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. But Ankita's family wants harsher penalties for the murderers.
मेरे बेटी के साथ मेरी बेटी बोल के गई थी कि पापा जैसे हम तड़प के मरे ना उसी तरह इसको मतलब उसका भी मौत इसी तरह होना चाहिए। आजीवन कारावास दिए, लेकिन पूरा दुनिया जान रही कि फांसी का मांग हो रहा था। तो हम भी उसमें भी चलो भाई हम हाई कोर्ट जाएंगे, हाई कोर्ट में अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक जाएंगे, लेकिन फांसी होना चाहिए। मेरे बेटी की आत्मा को शांति मिलेगा।
The assault on the vloggers led to another round of protests and soul searching in India. Yet, despite these calls for change, why has gender violence remained persistent in India? Delhi, a bustling city on the move. Tree-lined avenues, gleaming offices, men and women rushing through their daily commitments. Ishita Yashvi is a true Delhiite. She grew up in the metropolis, availing herself of the best education and facilities. 5 years ago, she gave up a top corporate job to venture out on her own. Along with a couple of her friends, Ishita set up Cross-Border Kitchens, a cloud kitchen platform that delivers hotly cooked quality food to thousands of Delhi homes. Initially, it was tough going for the company.
It's been very challenging because we started January 2019 and then March 2020 COVID came and we had to do a lot of re-engineering of stuff at the back end. We had to really reimagine a lot of things. We had to, at that point, also let go of some of our staff because we were too young to navigate such a big crisis, but we did it.
Ishita's company has flourished since those difficult days. Today, Cross-Border Kitchens operates several kitchens and food brands. They're looking to expand across the country. Ishita represents the progress of Indian women who are entering higher education and entrepreneurship in larger numbers than ever. But her success today belies a troubled past. Growing up, she was intimately familiar with patriarchy and misogyny.
I must have been about 8 years onward or maybe 5 years onward when I started seeing these patterns. But of course I didn't know what to call them, what to think of them. These words I only know now. I didn't know back then misogyny or patriarchy or a toxic behavior by a male member of the family. I was born into a family where men were highly unproductive. They were entitled. There was substance abuse, alcoholism and high entitled behavior that women should cook, women should serve.
Ishita's experience is not uncommon. Despite great strides made by Indian women, the country is still largely patriarchal. The World Economic Forum's 2023 Gender Gap Report, which measures gender equality, ranks India 127 out of 146 countries.
A girl child is discriminated against inside the house. She's not given a level playing field even as a small kid. And as she grows up, she's facing discrimination within the house. There's very few households, I don't know in percentage, maybe not even 5% in India probably, where the atmosphere within the house is gender equal. So the discrimination starts from there. Our primary socialization is within the family. And within the family and community, the feeling is that, mind your own business, don't go out at late, bad girls don't do this. That's still very deep rooted. Or be careful, or be cautious, don't talk too much, etc. It's very strong. It continues. You won't get married, or if there is a bad name, your family will be dishonored. Those small, these micro details feed into the macro narratives. And the person imbibes them.
For Ishita, even the women in her household held these views.
It was told to my mother that you have to support the family. So even my grandmother made it very clear. So in that family, my grandfather didn't work, my father didn't work, and my grandmother was a very hardworking woman, but at the same time she was extremely pro-patriarchy and she was extremely pro-misogyny, that I've done this all my life, you have to do this, this is the norm in this family, you have to figure this out. The men are not going to work, they will drink their alcohol, they will not be kind, they will be entitled, but please go ahead and bring the bread home.
It has been suggested that these deep-rooted views on gender is one reason why sexual violence is common. In many pockets of Indian society, women are still considered subordinate to men. A 10-year-old comment from a politician responding to a case of a sexual assault illustrates this idea.
See, this is our culture. Our culture says that we must keep our women there. And it's not new. Mulayam Singh Yadav, if you remember that rape, boys will be boys. Boys are boys.
As a society, we are pretty conditioned and we do not take our women to be women like as humans. We consider them to be secondary beings or objects. And atrocities against women is not only about eve teasing, rape or murder. It is also about whatever women are facing inside the house. I feel that they consider women to be something is a dough and which they can knead whenever they would want to, as a commodity actually, objectification of the women, yeah.
One method of protecting young women from unwanted male attention is deeply problematic.
Like during COVID, the age of marriage fell dramatically and child marriages increased in our country. At the same time, post-Nirbhaya, you had the age of consent debate, raising the age, etc. Now, why did child marriages increase? Child marriages increased, dropout rate increased, because they were fearful of the women's safety. Little girls staying at home in the juggi, they said, get married off, it's safer and secure.
Because of the prevalence of domestic and sexual violence, a 2018 Thomson Reuters poll of over 500 experts ranked India as the most dangerous country for women, worse than countries like Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia. The National Commission for Women disagrees with the report.
There are some media houses, they have their own agenda to show India in bad light, and that's what at that time also I fought, and I replied back, if you see America, and people are not talking about these things, in America every day there are so many date rapes, nobody talks about these things. So somewhere there is I think there is a portion of media, there is a part of media, especially international media, which is showing India in bad light.
There could be some truth in that. After all, painting a country of 1.4 billion with a single brush is impossible. The treatment of women across regions and religions, across class and caste, can be vastly different.
जो दलितों के लिए लागू होता है वही लागू महिलाओं के लिए भी होता है कि जब असर्ट करती है, इवन वोकल होती है, इवन मोबिलिटी भी तो कंट्रोल है। तो किसी भी फॉर्म में जब वो मोबाइल होती हुई दिखती है, असर्ट करती हुई दिखती है, तो सबसे बड़ा जो हिंसक ताकत है वो है कि रेप करो, ब्रूटली रेप करो, मर्डर करो। और जब कास्ट का मसला आ जाए उसमें साथ साथ जुड़ जाए तो वो डबल एज्ड हो जाता है।
एक दूसरा, यदि आप दलित महिलाओं की बात करें, दूसरी महिलाओं की तुलना में दलित महिलाओं के साथ ट्रिपल यानी कि 3 गुना ज़्यादा हिंसा, क्योंकि एक तो वो जातिगत के कारण, एक वो महिला होने के कारण, एक तीसरा गरीबी के कारण, उस समय कारण।
To me, India is a pretty nice country. I drive my car at 2 a.m. in the night. But is my reality everybody else's reality? Does the village girl has the same power as me? Can she drive? Can she walk out at 2 a.m. in the night? Even at 10 p.m., even 8 p.m. I'm an urban woman, but a woman from a town, a kasbah or a village cannot be as empowered or as protected as me.
डेली एनसीआर के बारे में बात करूं तो अब पहले से काफ़ी सेफ हो गया है। पहले से काफ़ी चेंजेस आए हैं। अब लड़कियां पहले से ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग हो गई हैं और पहले से ज़्यादा अब सेफ फील करती हैं।
Yet even in Delhi, a woman's safety is not assured outside her home. In 2022, crimes against women and murders increased in Delhi. 14,158 cases that year compared to 13,982 the year before. Ishita has come to learn how to navigate the streets alone.
Delhi is safe in pockets. I feel that that's a ground reality of a lot of cities as well, including Delhi. It's safe and unsafe both. There are spaces where we can travel even midnight, after midnight from, like if I'm at a South Delhi location, you know, eating food in a good cafe or in a good hotel and I'm driving back, I'm okay. But let's say if I'm coming back from Faridabad on a dark road, I'm not going to go there, you know. I know that that's something that doesn't work.
But as women fight to end gender inequality and violence in India, there has been some degree of pushback. "54-year-old Lakshmi in Uttar Pradesh thought she would have a normal life when she married in 1995. But the verbal and physical abuse started almost immediately.
थोड़ा सा अजीब सा ही लगता था, पता अजीब सा ही बिहेव करते थे वो हर चीज़ के लिए, एक बच्ची की तरह। मतलब उसके मदर ने जैसे उसको बहुत ज़्यादा लाड किया हो, बहुत ज़्यादा लाड ले रहे थे वो अपनी मदर के, और मदर की डेथ हो चुकी थी मेरी शादी से पहले ही। मेरी शादी से पहले ही, मतलब मदर की 6 महीने पहले ही डेथ हुई थी, शादी के 6 महीने पहले ही।
Things would get worse when she was pregnant.
बेटी होने वाली थी, मैं प्रेग्नेंट थी, मैंने बहुत उल्टियाँ होती थी मेरे को। इन लोगों ने ढंग से मेरा इलाज नहीं करवाया, मेरे को हमेशा अपने पेरेंट्स के पास जाना पड़ता था, मदर के पास छोड़ाते थे हर बार जाके, उनको लगता था कि नहीं। फिर एक दिन मैंने देखा कि बहुत, मतलब मेरी हालत इतनी ख़राब थी, मतलब मेरे को डॉक्टर के पास लेकर गए, सुबह भी मेरी बहुत हालत ख़राब थी। मेरी सिस्टर इन लॉ, मेरे हस्बैंड, कि इसको किसी अच्छे डॉक्टर को मतलब डॉक्टर को किसी डॉक्टर के पास लेकर गई वो लोग। पता नहीं वहाँ से आने का डॉक्टर ने बोला कि इसको ग्लूकोज चढ़वाओ, तो वहाँ पे ग्लूकोज नहीं चढ़वाया हस्बैंड ने। वापस आ गए, नहीं मैं अपने फादर से पूछूंगा, पापा से, पिताजी से बात करूँगा। घर आए, मेरे को इतनी उल्टियाँ हो रही थी, इतनी घबराहट हो रही थी, लोग कुछ नहीं, दोनों बैठे हुए हैं और गप्पे मार, मतलब बैठ के क्या बात कर रहे हैं कमरे में, दूसरे कमरे में, और मैं तड़प रही हूँ, मार रही हूँ हाथ पैर कि मुझे हॉस्पिटल लेके जाओ, लेकिन कोई मेरे को हॉस्पिटल, दोनों में से कोई हॉस्पिटल नहीं लेके जा रहा था, ना मेरे हस्बैंड और ना ही मेरे फादर इन लॉ। फिर मैंने अपने इनको फ़ोन किया, अपने पेरेंट्स को फ़ोन किया कि वो लोग भाग कर आए। उन्होंने मेरे को, जब तक तो मैं बेहोश पड़ी हुई थी, जब वो लोग आए तो उन्होंने मुझे पानी वानी पिलाया, क्या किया आई डोंट नो। फिर जब मुझे होश आया तो फिर वो लोग मुझे अपने घर ले गए थे।
Much of the violence a woman faces is hidden since it takes place at home. The NCRB says that the majority of cases of gender violence in 2022 were registered under cruelty by husband or his relatives. In 2021, the police received complaints from almost 138,000 women, about one every 4 minutes. It's an increase of 27% from 2016. And even though dowries are illegal in India, the UN estimates that 40 to 50% of female homicides are due to dowry disputes. For Lakshmi, things came to a head 6 years ago.
पता नहीं, उस दिन मेरे को जब इन्होंने, मेरे हस्बैंड ने जब मुझे मारा आँख पे बहुत ज़ोर से, मैं खाना बना रही थी और मेरी बेटी को बोल रहा था कि आया आराम से उठा सो के कि खाना, मैंने कहा हाँ खाना बना हुआ है, और मैंने बोला खाना दे दिया उसको, तो कहने लगा कि ये क्या खाना बना कर दिया है मेरे को नहीं खाना, मेरे को दूसरा खाना। मैंने कहा ये खाना है, और हमेशा खाने के लिए पीछे बोलता रहता था कि ये क्या बनाया है, और खा लेता था और फिर कहता था क्या बनाया है खाना। उस दिन भी उसने वो खाना खाया और पता नहीं क्यों गुस्सा आया, एकदम से आया, और मैं काम कर रही थी किचन में, पराठे सेक रही थी, आया ज़ोर से और आँख पे मारा इतनी ज़ोर से उठ के कि बस गुस्से में कि क्या खाना बनाया है करके, और बस उसके बाद फिर वो बैठ के मारने के बाद मेरी बेटी मुझे ले गई अंदर, सुलाया उसने, क्योंकि दोनों बच्चे पढ़ रहे थे, दोनों के एग्ज़ाम्स थे, तो बेटी ले गई मुझे और फिर सुलाया और सब कुछ किया। फिर अब देखा तो खाना खा रहा था वो बैठ के।
She was beaten so badly that her sister had to come to rescue her. Lakshmi left with her children that day and never looked back. Domestic violence is not unique to India. The World Health Organization says violence against women, particularly intimate partner violence and sexual violence, is a major public health problem and a violation of women's human rights. In India, a National Family and Health Survey says nearly 30% of women have been physically, sexually, or emotionally abused by their husbands at some point. Something entrepreneur Ishita witnessed growing up.
I wouldn't say that there was domestic violence or even intermittent domestic violence. That was never the case. But yeah, some bit of pushing and shoving and abusing. And there came a point where I think I was kind of a young adult myself, and I would get in between the fights. You know, I would try to push him back and things like that. So not pleasant. No, so I would say some sort of physical abuse in a way, but definitely a whole lot of liberal verbal abuse.
Yet there appears to be some social acceptance of domestic violence in India. In a recent survey, 45% of women and 44% of men thought it was justified for a man to beat his wife for the right reasons. Lakshmi, of course, doesn't approve. She's been fighting a court battle for the last 5 years to get a divorce and compensation for domestic violence. Insight has to keep her identity anonymous because of the court case.
तो सब कुछ फिर उसके बाद 2018 से मेरे केसेस चल रहे हैं। हाँ, मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि मुझे पॉजिटिव मिलेगा। मैं एक लंबी लड़ाई लड़ रही हूँ और मुझे एक जस्टिस चाहिए अपने केसेस के लिए। मतलब मैं अब उससे छुटकारा पाना चाहती हूँ, बिल्कुल ही उस पे अपने कोर्ट से अपना पूरा मतलब अधिकार मांगना चाहती हूँ कि कोर्ट मुझे पूरा अधिकार दे, जो एक औरत के अधिकार होते हैं वो मुझे मिले।
In a country where patriarchal views hold strong, by taking her husband to court, Lakshmi is a rarity. A report by news publication The Wire estimates that 75% of domestic violence victims don't lodge a complaint. Though India has attempted to make the process easier. For example, 2005's Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act provides legal aid and special protections for victims.
Online complaints can be registered. People can file FIR online also. So when you see the data online, everything is transparent, and we have made it transparent because we wanted people to come forward and report.
But women's rights advocates say that inefficient legal processes still discourage women from coming forward.
We had a case recently which was fought for 2 years, and the court gave the verdict that compensation has to be paid and children's fee has to be paid, but the husband won't do it. Every time she has to go to the court to tell the husband to give the fee. I mean, how long? How long can she go on doing it? Finally she compromised. Fine, he's living with another woman, let him keep on paying my fee, I'll withdraw the case. This happens in many cases because our legal system is extremely slow and also insensitive.
But while the authorities strengthen legal protections for women, there is pushback. Some say the laws have now tilted against men. Lawyer Mahesh Tiwari has defended men who were falsely accused of violating the Dowry Act. The Dowry Act, known as Article 498A, outlaws dowries in India.
If female has filed a complaint against the husband, father-in-law, mother-in-law and distant relative also, so all of them need to be arrested immediately. One of the judgment passed by the Honorable Supreme Court has already held that the 498A, which is being formulated for the benefits of the women, has been highly misused, and it is a legal terrorism in India. Word they have used.
Tiwari has filed an appeal in the Supreme Court and written to the government to set up a national commission for men.
I am fighting to protect the innocent man. I am not finding the all men. I am saying that man who has committed the offence, who is the real culprit, he has to fail the music. But the man who is innocent and is being implicated, falsely implicated in the case, he has to be protected. I am fighting for them only.
As women around the world fight for more rights and protections, there is a global pushback against feminism. In a survey of 30 countries, an Ipsos report found that 1 in 3 men said feminism does more harm than good. In India, there is a growing men's rights movement. Some say that the attention on violence towards women comes at the expense of men.
The National Crime Records Bureau and all, they specifically address crimes against women, right? So that is why it gets highlighted more. The Domestic Violence Act especially, which is called Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. So the word woman is coded. It's not for men or other genders. If a man goes to the police station saying, I am facing domestic violence from my wife, or he says maybe my wife, her brother or father or somebody else, some male member, they are trying to attack me, they are intimidating me, so help me, the police won't do anything. They won't even register a complaint, right? That's where the situation is in India.
In Bengaluru, 51-year-old artificial intelligence expert Anil Murthy has set up Save Indian Family Foundation. It provides men with a space to discuss their problems.
We found that thousands and thousands of men are facing this problem. So we wanted to give a safe space for men, right? It's a space where we don't judge the man. If he's facing a problem or a marital problem, so we give the men the safe space so that the men can open up and we don't judge the men. We won't try to immediately fix him, but we give them a listening space so that the man can feel vulnerable and open up without any fear or without any judgment.
There should be gender neutral laws, there's no doubt about it. The whole patriarchal structure, it underplays the woman's position and it puts all the burden on man. That is a problem. When you put all the burden on a man, because a man is supposed to provide, a man or a young boy cannot cry because you are a man, you have to be strong. This is what is killing men. This is what is making them, I would say, emotionless.
Patriarchy and anti-women mindsets are deep-rooted. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has launched several schemes for women nationwide. And in the midst of an election season, political parties are championing the cause of women. But is that enough to solve gender violence in India?
बीजेपी के लिए महिलाओं की सुरक्षा, महिलाओं का सम्मान ये सर्वोपरि है। कोई भी व्यक्ति चाहे वो कितना भी बड़ा क्यों ना हो, अगर वो महिलाओं के सम्मान के साथ खिलवाड़ करता है तो उसे बख्शा नहीं जाना चाहिए।
It's election season in India. Both the ruling BJP and the opposition know that winning the women's vote will be crucial for victory. Yet the BJP suddenly found itself on the defensive. Prajwal Rivana, a grandson of a former prime minister and part of a party allied to the BJP, has been mired in a sex scandal. He's been accused of sexually assaulting and filming multiple women over several years. Prajwal has left India while denying the charges. Conservative, misogynistic views have also routinely been expressed by other politicians.
This person who is a state chief minister as of now, before he became the chief minister, his website said women's prime jobs are to give birth to healthy kids and raise them to be a warrior. This is what his website read before he became the chief minister. So if you have such people in power, the women on the lowest of the pyramid, they suffer every day.
Similarly, this anti-women mindset can be found in other institutions. For example, in 2021, the then Chief Justice was heavily criticized when he suggested a rapist should marry his victim.
The laws are very strict, and our laws have always been far ahead from the kind of social conventions which exist in society. But there was always a resistance to social change, particularly to women, whether it's expressed in the family, in communities, neighborhoods, or now I would say even in the state. It was always there, a state which doesn't mind siding with the rapist. And this has to be said unambiguously, you know. It sends a message.
Not only laws matter, but also their enforcements. And since women are not considered as primary beings or as equal as men, most of the times the enforcement of the law is not as stringent as it is supposed to be.
In fact, more cases are not being reported because even the police was always had, you know, very patriarchal mindsets, anti-women, anti-Muslim, anti-Dalit, anti-poor. And unless there is a law and there is a will to implement it, it's very difficult to get the cases registered.
Studies have shown that unequal views on gender are correlated to higher rates of domestic and sexual violence. So while India has strengthened its sexual misconduct laws, changing the views in society will be much harder.
India is not a safe place for most of the women, and it is not about the law, it is about enforcement of law, and it is also about the psychological status and conditioning. This education system is also not treating women well. Ram, Sita, jharu laga, Ram school cha. You see, there is a difference. There is a secondary treatment to women, to girls, in the very prime level of the school education. So if they are taught in the very, very basic learning that the girls are as good as you are and you cannot do anything to them, or neither girls can do anything to you, then only it can change.
I just feel that there is such a disparity of education. I feel it's the mentality that we are fighting against. It's that deep rooted societal mentality. And see, laws are just guardrails. They're not going to prevent the crime from happening, I feel. What's actually going to be preventive is the change of the mindset.
We generally talk about the law and order situation in the country. We talk about the government as if the government is increasing these cases. We don't talk about the mindset of people, which is, I can say, in India it is changing because of education and because women are now aware of their rights and they're coming forward with the complaints. So yes, time will take its own course.
Yet some are less optimistic about where the country is headed.
Wearing Western clothes, driving big cars is not modernism. You can be wearing Western clothes and speaking English and have extremely regressive ideas in your head. Modernizing means when your way of thinking is modernized, when you treat people with respect and with equal dignity. So that is not happening in India at all. We are in fact going to dark ages.
Back in Dumka, where the Spanish vloggers were attacked, local families live in fear. After Ankita was burnt alive, 3 other petrol attacks on women took place.
की जगह है जरमुंडी में, इसी तरह एक बच्ची को जो है उसको भी सेम पेट्रोल पिला के रात के 12 बजे की करीबन में आग डाल के उसको भी एकदम स्वाहा कर दिया गया। थर्ड घटना एक विशेष समुदाय के द्वारा एक आदिवासी नाबालिग बच्ची जिसको कि प्रेग्नेंट कर दिया गया था और उसके बाद उसको हैंगिंग करके मार दिया गया। मतलब 2022 का जो वो अगस्त से सितंबर का महीने था, उस टाइम लग रहा था दुमका टारगेटेड है कि यहाँ की पूरी लड़कियों को साफ ही कर देना है, खास करके नाबालिग बच्ची टारगेटेड थी।
यहाँ की प्रशासन जो है, प्रशासन एकदम यहाँ साथी नहीं है सर। लड़की औरत के लिए निकलना एकदम बड़ा ये है कि क्या बोलते हैं उसको, खतरे खाली है। कोई ठीक नहीं है सर, कभी भी कुछ हो सकता है, दिन में, रात में, शाम में, कहीं भी सेफ नहीं है। दुमका से एकदम बिल्कुल सेफ नहीं है।
In Dumka, Ankita was brutally murdered while she slept. Elsewhere, women have reached the pinnacle of social mobility. The nation's president is a woman, Draupadi Murmu. The chief minister of West Bengal state is also a woman, Mamata Banerjee. The diversity and disparity of India means the roots and solutions to sexual violence are a complex set.
India is not a homogeneous country. There are women who are suffering and suffering a great deal. There are women who face violence and there are women who live a very different life because India is very diverse economically, culturally. I think phenomenal things have happened in our country. There are sections of women who would have never come out are out. Newer and newer sections of women have emerged, in society. So it's extremely important to keep that in mind. But that does not, remove the idea that there are other tensions in society.
Change is the only thing that we hope for. So hope is the only thing that we are surviving for. So yes, I'm hoping for a change. I would want the situation to be changed in my lifetime only. I would want my daughters, granddaughters to have a safer, better life, a better country to live in. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and doing my bit whatsoever I can.
मैं एक अच्छी ज़िंदगी बिताना चाहती हूँ, इतना ही कहूँगी कि मैं अपनी आगे की ज़िंदगी अच्छी तरह से जीना चाहती हूँ। मुझे मेरा जस्टिस मिले बस।